where a man traps all the stories in the world in a bag. And when they finally struggle to get out, they seek revenge on the man. They do this because of one simple thing. Stories were not meant to be stuck in a bag, but instead, they are meant to be shared. With every new story, there is potential voice. When a story is retold, it lives again that day. But the time is not only for the day. If the teller decides to carry it further, it has strength to continue on. As Maxine Greene said of her work, in this time of interest in narrative and storytelling as a way of knowing, borrowing from Bruner, my hope is that the story disclosed here will move readers to tap their own stories, their experiences in finding projects by which to create identities. We reveal ourselves by our stories. My high school student said it best. Every story you tell has a little bit of you in it. In these boxes, not only do we read other people's stories, but we realize a little bit about ourselves when we share in the story experience. As Balaam would say, the event is a story itself. This event is one where we will experience not only the stories that are found in the boxes, but the stories that come from the stories in the boxes. Perhaps the stories you read today will affect the stories you live and the stories you tell. As Benina Schramm informs us, since storytelling is a dialogue, shared stories create more understanding, bring people closer together as a community, and serve as a string that binds one heart to another. And I believe that the universe is made up of string, unquote. In this case, what keeps us together are not strings, but boxes. As we honor the stories we hear today, let us know that there are thousands that we did not hear. As these story boxes travel around the world, let us remember the story started right here in Ohio, and those stories traveled to the ears of thousands of kids, an adult center, a state park, Israel, and all over the world. However, these stories did not travel alone. They were shared, and story keepers placed new stories with our stories so that they build a global community. We cannot possibly account for the gasp of a well-told ghost story that was found in the box, the awe in the brilliant photos, or the surprise in seeing the way the story box was created from yarn. But today, we can honor those voices by digging deep into those stories, the co-constructed narratives, by sharing, showing, and telling them. However, since I've been privileged to watch this journey, I want to share with you some of the rich findings that are in those boxes. In Switzerland, although the story box is left, it still remains there. There are plans to bring it to the European Federation of Storytelling. It has been featured at the Marquis of Tales Festival, and the narratives were translated from English to French, but storykeeper Natalie Gently shared the story when a small child said to her, "I don't have any ideas to put in the box," and then presented her with a little matchbox that she called a magic box, and said they can find the smallest story to place in the magic box and watch the magic grow. And it did. From this one simple little story that was not there, just the box, Natalie Gently created Light Up a Story, the Matchbox of Stories Festival, to promote hope, cultural rights, and peace. And the festival contained this little box of stories, which you can see today, how it's traveled. In Tucson, Arizona, Glenda Bowen shared her box at the festival, a book festival, where 10,000 people attended. Imaggio Dell Middle School told the Japanese story of Peach Boy, and I believe their stories are right here. and performed it for that festival. In Nevada, Michelle Banks had to cancel their program due to several storms, but gathered a program for the American Indian storytellers at the Stewart Indian Center and Cultural Center in Carson City, where they shared stories around the sacred fire. And she says, quote unquote, "It is indeed an eternal flame that immortally burns bright, illuminating new journeys for speakers and listeners." In Spain, storykeeper Jennifer Ramsey typed the student stories in Spanish, translated them, sent the bilingual versions of the stories to Australia. I don't have the time to tell you what those story boxes contain. I cannot tell you that it contains a unique produced video from Nevada of a non-casino view. I cannot tell you that it shared in 9 schools and it generated a publication after it was gone. I cannot tell you the pleas that I got from so many storykeepers that said, "I just want it one day longer, can I have it just one more day?" I can't tell you the frantic phone calls where it went to the wrong place in Arizona, or how it was featured in a national park in Kentucky. When it arrived in Israel, storykeeper Lamor Shafani shared, "The kids did not know what to do." She told me they struggled to tell their story. She said it was one of the first times that someone had asked them to tell their story. They hadn't been asked before. But she said, eventually the kids didn't create a product beyond the stories. They were going to produce a play, but they didn't. They had a dialogue about something much more important. They learned something new about themselves and experienced the truth between them. As the story boxes were wrapped tight and shipped onward from every storykeeper to every new storykeeper, they've traveled for a year, and they finally arrived here at the Multicultural Center here at Ohio State in the brand new Union. This would not be possible without the Multicultural Center, especially their director, Rebecca Nelson, Christina, Krista, and countless others. Today, we celebrate the stories have arrived. Tonight, they'll be wrapped up, and I'm proud to report we'll continue to travel, and I'll carry them with me to schools that hosted them, as well as my university now, Ohio Dominican University, where we're beginning our term of a new story boxes. We'll learn from where they are, where they've been, and where they will be. However, I turn to the words of Michelle Banks, native teller from Nevada, who said, "It's quieter now, here without the story box. But this too is essentially great, for I can hear the moccasin breath of the stories that are coming. They are fibers awaiting the loom, making manifest their own journeys to fruition. And I am fortified for being a story keeper, warmer now that the story box was here." So for now, the story box is with us again. Let's make some noise, stoke up the fire, and